gaming. The world of gaming is
Frank Sinatra, Andre Agassi, and yes, even Donald Trump. What do all those people have in common? They have all held a Nevada gaming license. They are among thousands who, over the years, who have been a part of Nevada's main industry, gaming. Now, gaming is very important to Nevada. There's even a law that says how important it is. The gaming industry is vitally important to the economy of this state and to the welfare of the people who live here. And the numbers back that up. $11 billion was generated from Nevada's largest casinos last year. 42% of the revenue that comes into the state of Nevada is gaming tax revenue. Even if you don't work in the gaming industry, it impacts your life. Gaming has been the major economic driver of the state for decades. It's helped pay for roads, it's helped pay for schools, helped pay for fire and police protection. I would argue that even this building may not be here without gaming. And maybe a lot of the people who work in this building wouldn't have jobs without the energy. That's not just for those people, it's for me too. But for gaming, I would not have the job I have. That's because I work for the Attorney General, and my client are the gaming regulators. There's the Gaming Control Board and the Nevada Gaming Commission. The Gaming Control Board are the boots on the ground regulators. There's a staff of hundreds, and the board is made up of 3 individuals who are appointed by the governor, and that's their full-time job to regulate the gaming industry. Now, many of the big decisions that the Gaming Control Board makes are in the form of recommendations to the Gaming Commission. The Gaming Commission is made up of 5 individuals, also appointed by the governor. It is not their full-time job to regulate. It's a part-time job for them. Now, at Jeffrey's suggestion, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the gaming industry and my small part in it. And it was hard to break it down, but I decided to tell you about investigations, auditing, and discipline. So first, investigations. A gaming license is a privilege. No one is entitled to a gaming license. You have to prove that you're suitable. And so if a person applies for a gaming license, they are opening up their lives to the Gaming Control Board. And the Gaming Control Board can and will look into every aspect of that person's life. They'll look at where they went to school, where they've worked, what businesses they've owned, any criminal background. They'll look and see where you've been in the world. Anything and everything they will look at. And that can be a very expensive process. Some people who are in the gaming industry, they have vast business empires. Maybe they've worked various places around the country or even around the world. Well, a Gaming Control Board agent will go to every place that you've been. They will talk to people that you've known, and they will look at all your records. Just to make sure that the gaming industry and the reputation of the state are protected. Who pays for that? The person who applies for a license. Second, auditing. The whole reason that this gaming industry is allowed to exist is to provide tax revenue. Well, we got to make sure that the casinos are properly reporting their tax revenue, their gaming revenue, so we get our taxes and the state gets its fair share. How do we do this? We have to audit their records. The Gaming Control Board has a staff that actually goes around the state on a regular basis, sets up shop in casinos for however long it takes, a week, 2 weeks, and looks at all of their financial records to make sure that the state's getting its fair share. Now, in that process, there might be a disagreement, right, between the casino and the board. The board thinks, you owe $1 million more in taxes, and the casino says, no, we paid all our taxes. I might be there to help. Myself or a coworker will be there to help the board in resolving that dispute. Now, the Nevada Gaming Commission is the ultimate tax collector for gaming taxes. So that dispute would go before the Nevada Gaming Commission. I would, either on behalf of the board, representing its position that additional taxes are owed, and then the casino will have its attorney. And we'll argue it out, and the commission will decide. Now, third, discipline. Just because a person gets a gaming license doesn't mean they can relax. They have to maintain their suitability. And the board, which is like a police department with its cops out on the beat, looking for people who violate the law, speed, the board's out there looking to see if its gaming licensees are following the law. Sometimes they don't, and that results in a complaint being filed by the board with the Nevada Gaming Commission. I'm the one that would draft the complaint for the board and then represent the board in that process before the Gaming Commission. Many of these complaints are resolved with a settlement between the board and the casino that's ultimately approved by the Gaming Commission. Sometimes there's a disagreement, right? And whether it's about the facts or about the discipline. Again, I would represent the board in pursuing that discipline before the Nevada Gaming Commission. It's like a mini trial. Evidence is presented, arguments are made, and ultimately the Gaming Commission will decide what, if any, discipline should be imposed. And there's a whole range of options available to them. Often it's a fine, though. And I've seen fines as little as $500 imposed on a licensee, all the way up to $5.5 million. But that discipline, that option to pursue discipline, helps maintain the integrity of gaming in this state. So we have investigations, people's background, we have auditing to make sure that taxes are adequately paid, and then we have discipline. All of that equates to the strict regulation of gaming in Nevada. And the strict regulation of gaming has allowed this state to prosper. It's provided jobs to so many people, and of course it's provided fortunes to a lot of people, but ultimately the state that we have here today is because